excuse me, two people are more blessed than we are. To have this family, to have this love that you all have shown us tonight. But I prepared a couple little notes. It's not anything. Nothing spectacular.
And it's long.
It's kind of a history. Now you all are part of this history, but it wouldn't do you any harm to listen to the beginning of it and how it all developed. And I called it, excuse me, I'm going to ad-lib most of this. These are just a few notes.
Looks like you took the gators and the
2
points,
pages.
too.
The cliff notes to warm
The history of Svend and Marie. Okay? All right, we go to 1945. Maybe I better take a drink of water. 1945. That was the year I came back from overseas. And I came back to Newburgh, my old hometown, because that's where I wanted to be. When I got there, I didn't know anybody. Everybody that I used to know was gone. So an old friend of mine who was stationed at Stewart Field, he was an old staff sergeant. I don't know what's the matter with my voice. I guess I better cut out the cigars. He said, how about going on a double date with me? He said, I've got a girl that I've been trying to date, and she won't go out with me, but she would like to meet you. I said, great. So we arranged a double date.
Oh no, that was C-R-E-T, crap.
He had this date with Marie Savage. I had this date with Betty somebody, I don't even remember.
No.
What was her name?
Betty Grace.
I forget. You
Anyway,
carry it on from there.
We had a beautiful date. We went on a picnic out at a lake and had a beautiful picnic. We cooked steaks and had all kinds of good things.
Okay, forget it.
On the way home, I was at that time right after World War II. There weren't many cars available. So I had purchased a 1939 Plymouth convertible. It had a rumble seat. Make the cars go in. So on the way home, I'm driving with my date, and this guy Tommy's in the back in the rumble seat with this Marie Olsen.
Marie Savage.
It was Marie Olsen at the time.
I'd kind of taken a liking to it, you know. I liked what I saw, and I mean, it beat anything that I've seen before. But I kept looking in the rearview mirror to make sure they weren't, you know, getting close to each other.
I hated them.
The rumble seat was very. It was very windy, so I took off these sunglasses I had, and I handed them back to Marie so that it would keep the wind out of her eyes.
Sucker.
Anyway, the date was terrific, and we all went home and went on our separate ways. The next day, I got a call from this Marie Savage. She says, I forgot to give you back your sunglasses. Oh, yeah, I was missing my sunglasses. Well, we better get together sometime so that I can give you back your sunglasses. So we set up a date.
Smart girl.
There might have been a little bit of devious planning going on.
Way to go, Mama.
I'm not sure today, but I think there was a little bit of devious planning. But anyway, we set up a date, and I got my sunglasses back. And that was the beginning of a whole series of dates that we decided, you know, we were kind of interested in each other. So that's the nemesis or the genesis of this.
But I wasn't desperate.
Tell him, Mom.
I wasn't
Either desperate or a
desperate.
Say
klepto.
we kind of developed an interest in each other.
Yes, we did.
You know, maybe there was potential there. Maybe
Your
something
move.
happened. Okay. So now, comes the fall of 1945. I had made arrangements to go to Tulsa, Oklahoma to go to school out there under the GI Bill. And golly, I was kind of torn in between. I love this girl, but I've made these commitments and I want to further my education because I want to keep flying airplanes, and this was all aeronautical type of stuff I was going to. So I went to Tulsa. And we told each other at that time, let's let a little time go by and we'll see when you come back. We might still be interested in each other. So we stayed in contact through the mail. We wrote back and forth to each other, and it was great. I did a little dating while I was out there. She did a little dating while I was gone. And that was the way we planned it. Okay. Let's see. In June of that same year, in June of that same year, I came back to Newburgh, and we started dating again. In July of that year, I gave her an engagement ring. August, on her birthday. I gave her.
Yes, I remember it well.
This is still 1946, if you can believe that.
Facts have been changed to save the innocent.
Forrest, don't laugh, you'll be doing that someday too. You'll forget everything.
In August of 1946, and on November 17th, 1946, was our wedding day, and we got married. All right, following November 1947, Eric was born. Almost 1 year from our anniversary day.
Yeah.
In 1949, we moved to Zanesville, Ohio, and I went to work for a company called Mosaic Tile, one of the major tile manufacturing companies.
I'm sorry, sir, that color's been discontinued for 4 years.
I wanted to sell the tile to them, but my ulterior motive was to set up an aviation department with them. They were supposed to buy me a big twin-engine airplane. I was going to fly for them, and I was going to be the pilot. That didn't work out. So, while we were in Zanesville, Ohio, Eric was a little 2-year-old boy. We lived on a street called Maple Avenue. And whenever anybody asked Eric what his name was, he said, Ricky Maple. We didn't call him Ricky in those days. We thought his name was Ricky Maple.
That's all right, honey.
Uncle Ricky.
Mama
Uncle Ricky.
Since that company decided not to get an aviation department set up and not offer me this plush flying job, we decided in 1950, we moved back to Newburgh, New York, and I went to work in my dad's business in the tile contracting business. All right, when we moved back in 1950, Mom was already pregnant with Peter. Peter was on the way. Peter was born September 1950 in Cornwall, New York.
Which he refuses to admit.
All of the nurses and everything thought that this is the most beautiful baby that's ever been born in this hospital. But the truth of the matter is, the doctor took one look at Peter and slapped Marie. You deserve that because you told me that. I'm still keeping on schedule now. You know, we have a youngster every year or two. Keeping on schedule. Court was born in January 1952. He soon became my traveling buddy. In those years, we used to go every Christmas, or in the summertime we'd drive up to Newburgh, New York to visit my family at Stone Street. And we couldn't afford a motel. So we would take off and drive all night long up to Newburgh. Everybody else in the car would be fast asleep. And Court would be wide awake. He'd be standing on me beside the seat, keeping me awake. He was my co-pilot.
Little tiny baby.
Truth. And it was terrific.
He was always looking at the light. He was looking at the light.
He stood between us.
Mama, he could hardly talk.
All right, let's see. All right, now I don't want to belabor this, but now we're up to 1952.
Belabor?
1952 was a major change in our life, because that's when we moved to Kinston, North Carolina, and I became a flight instructor for the Air Force. Now, I was in the tile business. I loved the tile business. I loved my dad, and I loved that. But I always wanted to fly airplanes. So here comes this opportunity, and away we go to Kinston, North Carolina. And when we got there, here I've got a little Yankee family. I've got to teach them all to be Southerners, which wasn't too difficult, because Kinston, North Carolina was a real nice little southern town to live in, and they all fitted in, and they all became members of a society up there that we still cherish, because Mom and I went back up this year to a reunion And we go back, we look at the old home that we lived in, we look at the old school that the kids went to, we go to church where we used to go to church and things like that. So Kinston is a very, very important part of our life. But in 1956, here comes our first little and only daughter. Little Inga was born on April 3rd. Surprise, surprise. We thought she was beautiful.
But
Never did we understand. And went on and said her picture looked like Spanky McFarland. I don't know if y'all remember our gang in Spanky McFarland, but this goes way back.
That's when she was little.
Okay, that's 56.
Before
Now,
she had her.
moving along, we're up to 1957.